the next topic: comic to movie adaptations. There are a lot of comic. Whoa, it's not working. There we go. Fixed. There we go. A lot of comic to movie adaptations. Many of them are fine. Most are bad. Some are really good.
My quick thoughts on this, super succinct. I think if you take Scott Pilgrim, 300, and Sin City, and kind of just analyze them in a school-like setting and break it down and like all the storytelling elements and everything, you can actually get all the ingredients that you need to actually properly adapt comics to movies.
Yep.
Thoughts?
And I think so. Those are great examples. And I think if we wanted to look at bad examples, let's look at everything else that Snyder's done.
Everything else that many other people have done too, adapting comics, right?
Well,
Yeah.
it's like there's two, like V for Vendetta is another good example of a comic adaptation.
30 Days of Night is close. No cigar though.
No
Good
cigar.
movie.
Well, I will say
good movie.
there
It changed a lot though.
there are good movies that aren't good adaptations.
Yeah,
There are
The
good-
Shining
there
is
are-
a good movie, but it's a bad adaptation.
Yeah, probably a lot of Stephen King stuff is
Oh no
better movies than
A
adaptation.
lot of his adaptations that are very accurate are not very good. That's the truth,
Yeah,
unfortunately. That's because the needs of a film and a comic or a book and a film are very different. That's the thing. Things do need to change. Like The Lord of the Rings is not super faithful in certain instances, but it's faithful to the spirit of the work, and it changes things in ways that make a lot of sense, in my opinion. But we're talking about comics specifically. There's the whole genre of like superhero stuff too. That's yeah.
I mean, we've got plenty of examples of that done poorly. But I mean, comics are so much easier because the comics have already retold the stories 1,000 times. So it's like, do we care too much if the story's told differently? I think the MCU is a great example of it done pretty successfully up until a certain point in time. And, you know, Infinity War was much different than how that went down in the comics. Still
Infinitely.
Still good. At least, you know.
Thank you for
Endgame
chuckling.
at least had a good fight at the end, you know.
Dude, Infinity War is the better half of that ending, but I also like Endgame. I knew after Endgame I was done with Marvel, so yeah.
Well, it still had the hype of of Infinity War, so it's just like when you look back at it now, you're just like, can we just skip it to the last fight and ignore the cringy girl boss moment?
And when Captain Marvel got her kicked in that film, the entire theater cheered out loud.
Absolutely, dude. Oh man, I don't want to get. I don't want to
And
get on that. So Lord of the Rings.
real quick, Daniel brings up a good point because we're talking about comics. And Daniel says the MCU is not comic adaptations, and he's kind of right. We're taking the concepts of the characters, but we're not taking very many specific comics. We're taking the world established and creating our own. Then they created an imitation of it, but it truly wasn't a comic adaptation, in my opinion. I do kind of agree with that.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So let's maybe stick to the.
All right, I gotta go.
All right, later, AC.
Peace out, brother.
Does anyone else have the Chill Kid video clip that we can play at the end?
I
Kind of
don't
want
have
to roll
anything.
on that. So, Kahuna, if you can find that, maybe, and
Which one?
pull it up. The Chill Kid song.
Oh, the song?
Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream playing that.
Did AC have it on YouTube?
No, I don't think so. But he messaged it to us on Twitter. All right, so do we got good examples of, I guess, poorly adapted but good comic book adaptations?
You said poorly adapted but good, like it's not faithful to the source material, but the source material, but still turned out as a good movie.
Yeah,
That's a
I
tough
mean, I
one.
think
I
there's
don't know if I can think of an
definitely
example.
examples out there. But I mean, like,
V for Vendetta is very different in some ways from the comic that it's
Maybe,
adapted from, but it's a very good film.
well,
I heard
Watchmen.
Constantine was
the-
pretty different from the comic too, but I liked Constantine.
Constantine was really good. I mean, that's another one. That's DC. I mean, Constantine's a DC. The problem is, it's the same thing with all the DC and Marvel stuff. It's like, again, those stories have been retold in so many different ways. We really don't mind when the adaptation is not faithful, like the other stuff. Like, we want certain aspects. Like, we want the character to be the characters, but besides that, like, we don't mind them going on a story that we might not have seen them go on before. You know.
Daniel, Blade was a really good comic adaptation. It's not really faithful in some ways to the comics, but it is a very good movie. Yeah. So I guess it depends. Like, does it have to be faithful to be a good adaptation? Can it be faithful in spirit but not faithful in detail, and still be?
Man,
I think it depends what the source stuff is, and that's why I'm saying it's just like when we talk about comic books, it's different. Because of how many times it's been retold. I think when we talk about like a book adaptation, no, we want the story to go how the story goes. Like, we want more than just the characters to feel like the characters. We want the story properly adapted, usually, right? Unless it goes off and a whole different thing. Okay, here's a good one. Which, you know, people probably disagree whether it's good or not. Ready Player One, very different than the book. Very different than the book. And I liked both. I thought the book was much better, but there was no way that if they did it like how they did it in the book, there was no way that was going to be an entertaining movie.
I think we should try to limit this to comics as much as we can, just because books, it's such a huge subject. Because every movie is based off a book. If you include
that's true, but
this
is a good example.
No. I reject your reality and I substitute my own.
Yeah.
and it's on theme with the video game references since we were already talking about Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Ready, fight.
Yeah.
I thought the book was
think
pretty
it's just-
entertaining. I'd be curious because the thing is, just because I can't figure out in my head how to take some of the scenes from the book and make it into an entertaining movie scene, I think there's probably better ways to do it. Like, they added that car race in the movie to make it more exciting, and it just felt really weird to me compared to the book. Like, the spirit of the thing was almost kind of lost at that point on some level.
Which movie?
He's talking
Ready
about
Player
Ready Player
One,
One.
yeah.
He ignored what you said.
I was typing, frankly. I wasn't listening.
Well,
you should be worth listening to. Try harder. No.
I thought that was
Got good, Scrubs.
I thought that was the better choice. I'm still talking about Ready Player One. I thought that was the better choice because, like, the alternative in the book of Ready Player One, he's playing an arcade game.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not going to be entertaining to watch.
I think there's a way you could edit it to make it work. I think that people that make movies all the time and it's their whole job.
I just think the
they
race
could
needed
find
to
a
be
way.
better. I think, like, well, the problem with the Ready Player One is when he's like, oh, the key is just to drive backwards. I'm like, really? Nobody tried that? Nobody tried to drive backwards?
Right.
Get the fuck out of here. Oh, man, you really should see Ready Player or read Ready
I've never
Player 2.
read the
That's
book and never
worst.
seen the movie.
Ready Player
The book
One,
was
the book
pretty
is
fun.
fantastic. I love the book. Ready Player 2 is the worst book I've ever read in my life.
I didn't know
There's-
they made a sequel.
There are so many chapters. It came out like a
recently.
year ago. Or something.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, there's like a chapter or two that's dedicated to framing Jarrah Token as a racist, and that the orcs are black people.
What what
Dude,
a
it is
festering
insane.
pile of crap,
Yeah.
dude.
So
Holy.
like, yeah, big part of it was like, and again, think about the type of characters they are. They're the egg hunters. They know every little detail about the creator's like history, right? And they know that he's a big Lord of the Rings fan. The main character never read the Silmarillion.
Oh boy.
Yo, you think if you're gonna look for hints, maybe the Silmarillion might fucking have something?
Maybe,
So
yeah.
it plays a part in the second book, and they're like, they have to do this part, and his black friend is the one that read the Silmarillion and chews him out for it. And then they're like looking at the beauty of it, and they're like, yeah, it's just too bad that he was such a racist. It just sucks there can't be any black people. It was insane. It was insane.
Oh, wow.
I like in the Rings of Power, sorry, you just brought it up. The one opportunity they had to cast a black person as a canon character and have it make sense, and they cast like the whitest man on the planet to play that character.
Which one is this?
I didn't watch it, but someone pointed out it was one of the not Middle Eastern people. What do you call them? The what are they called? They're the men of the East. They're all those guys. They had a couple of scenes with those characters, and they're Arabic and or black looking, and they could have done it then, and then they didn't. I was like, what a waste.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain's tired.
Nah, that's fine. Yeah, man, I'm failing to come up with if chat can maybe help us on this one. I can't come up with a comic book adaptation that was good, but was adapted poorly. And that's why I had to go to Ready Player One.
Well, it's like
Conan?
they change almost every single adaptation changes some details.
Conan?
But Conan, it was more.
That was an original story.
It
right?
was,
and it's a good movie.
I think. Like, here's an aspect of the topic I think we could dive into a little bit more, and that is Mortal Kombat. But no, it's that when people would change things in adaptations before, like when we were growing up, we usually didn't mind as much at the time, like especially if they did a good job. But now they're making changes, they're making a bad product, and they're changing things that alter the spirit of the work itself. I think if you can do a good adaptation that catches the spirit of its original inspiration.
That's the important part, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I've argued with Royce about this. It's not a comic thing, but it was like one of my favorite biblically inspired movies is The Prince of Egypt. I adore that film. I think it's an incredible film.
Yeah.
And people are like, it's not historically accurate. It's not biblical. I'm like, it captures the most important things it had to do. It did with flying colors. It captured the spirit
I
of
don't
the
think
story.
we're gonna get good examples for the comic book stuff on this. Like, it's just
Alita was not a great film. It was a fine film, but it wasn't.
People
a great
talk
film.
about that being really good. I thought it was pretty good. Like, it was enjoyable. Wife really liked it. But yeah, I don't know. It was definitely different.
Again, like I think, like again, V for Vendetta, it changes some things, but it doesn't change most things. So, like, is it a fully accurate adaptation? No, but is it a mostly accurate adaptation? Yeah.
Well, that's probably one of the typical things where the limitations come in with the time. You know, you only allotted so much time in a movie. So
yeah, and Watchmen, that they made a couple of changes, but the heart of the story was still the same, and was still mid.
They made changes that made it better.
They did actually. They did.
Yeah.
Wait, was that Zack Snyder also? Yeah, that was Zack Snyder. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it a little bit, but I've never felt a need to rewatch it.
Oh, I definitely did.
Rorschach
is such a good character.
That we're coming up on that one, right?
What's that? Sorry.
You guys are talking about V for Vendetta?
We did earlier. Yeah.
Oh,
what Zack Snyder film were you just talking about that you said you see one scene and
Watchmen
again? Oh, Watchmen. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I didn't like it.
Yeah,
I don't need to see blue naked penis again. I just don't. If I want that, I'll just watch Avatar again.
What were the things that you liked about Scott Pilgrim?
Who, me?
No, Justin.
Oh, me? The pace of it, the jokes.
Oh, well, whatever reason you like Scott Pilgrim, I'm sure it's the exact reasons why you'd hate Watchmen.
One is entertaining and one was not as entertaining? I don't understand.
No, Batos. One was fun and the other was not fun.
Yeah. Oh, is that what you're getting at? You want me to say that word?
It's like, Joe, one of them was bad people doing bad things with good music, and the other was bad people doing bad things with bad music. Yeah. That's the difference.
You just watched a clip from the Iron Seas podcast. Make sure to like this, subscribe, it helps us out a little bit. And please catch the show live at 9:30 Eastern every Tuesday.